How old is the average gamer? The crucial truth that it tells us. Did you know that in 2021, the number of gamers worldwide had reached about 2.9 billion, and studies show that it would further increase in the following years. Yes, they were varied in ages, but still a certain age dominated the gaming population. And at the end of this video, we'll talk about the crucial truth behind these statistics, as it tells us another growing problem that the world is facing at the very moment. But just before we dive in, let us take a look back at where did all these had begun. So William Alfred Higginbotham was just an ordinary boy like every other kid in his town. And besides playing outside, Alfred was very fond of playing board games. Well, maybe since it was the only game around before. We can't really tell. Eventually, Alfred would graduate from college as a successful physicist, and his story would not end there. Surprisingly, Alfred would be a key person in making the first atomic bomb during World War II, but that's not what made him remarkable in history. Instead, it would all start during his work in Brookhaven National Laboratory. However, before we continue, we're having insights from the past as we would later see how it became crucial at present. Going back, annually, the laboratory would conduct exhibits, but one day, Alfred realized something. He observed that the exhibit was really dull, and he got a crazy idea to improve it. Then no one knows, aside from Alfred, that this moment would be the beginning of another sensational innovation. That same day, Alfred would leave his mark in history by creating the first video game. He designed it by overlaying an image of a tennis court, then with his prowess in electronics, he made it that people could control the tennis ball on its screen. As a result, people enjoyed it so much that soon, the exhibits held became really popular and lively, and this would become the foundation of video games since then. In the following years, Space War was launched, Computer Space, Galaxy Game, etc. And with the advancing technology, games gained more distinctive graphic designs and overall gameplay. So games became not just a hobby, but eventually changed people's lives. And just imagine how games were crucial to its 2.9 billion gamers around the world. Well, statistics show that the average age of gamers was 34 years old for men and 36 for women. So most of them were adults, and you might wonder why they gave a lot of time and energy to playing video games. And sadly, recent studies found that it's mainly because of anxiety and the fact that most of them have troubles with dealing with problems. Yes, video games became their last resort. And it's quite awful that Alfred, who created the first video game, had nothing like this on his mind. But still, most adults relied on these virtual worlds to find solace in this ever-changing world. However, the problem was the future generation might have to bear the consequence of having an entire generation of adults who played games, not just for fun, but as an outlet for their desire to escape from reality. We never know. But we should start to deal with this problem before we witness a world where people wouldn't be able to move on in life without playing video games. We've discovered an amazing story about the average gamer's age. Now click this and discover the top video games commercial failures.